got this thing.
Yikes. 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs. Just like Butler said, you in trouble, y'all. Kept the flow playing, got it all band. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, it's power, have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, and Alex Toledo, plus others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
All right, welcome into 5 on the Floor Live here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and 5 Reasons Sports. Like next to me, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, I've got Greg Sylvander. You can follow me at Greg Sylvander. Above him, got Brady Hawk. Follow him at Brady Hawk 305, and we've got Alex Toledo. You can follow him at Tropical Blanket. Thanks to those of you who were on playback with us tonight. We had some fun there. As much fun as you could possibly have during a game like this. We had more than 60 people who were there for most of the game just watching with us, so you can check that out on Saturday night as well as the Heat played Dallas. But, of course, the story today is that they lose to the Knicks, another game they could not afford to lose. And in this one, it was their best players who actually let them down. So we're going to get into that as we go forward here. We do want to mention one of our sponsors to start. We'll get to the other two later in the show. PrizePicks.com. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Get that initial deposit matched up to $100. Yes, the Heat are disappointing, but there were two South Florida teams in the Final Four. Play them in PrizePicks. You can do that on Saturday. Use the code 5. The props are already on the board for FAU and Miami. Also play MMA, MLS, NHL, MLB coming up. They got the MLB futures are on there. Of course, opening day coming up here this week. So use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Get the initial deposit matched up to $100. You can find it at PrizePicks.com, the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. And again, that money is yours. No rollovers, not illegal, none of that stuff. PrizePicks is where you want to go. Use the code 5, get that initial deposit matched up to $100. All right, Miami Heat lose tonight, and they lose to the New York Knicks, and that's it for the 5 seed. We kind of knew that wasn't going to happen anyway. The 6th seed is slipping away. The Nets, as we speak, can somebody give me an update? Because they were down in Houston, but they won or are winning. Is that correct?
Yes, they ended up winning 123-114 over the Houston Rockets. So they improved to what I believe now is 41-35, whereas the Heat stand at 40-37 now.
Garbage. Okay, let's address this way, and I'm going to pass this off, and I want everybody to be quick tonight, and let's try to move through a number of subjects if we possibly can. Okay, and we will take some comments. We appreciate our producer Matty Chang hanging in with us. I'm just going to say this really simple, and there's really not much more else to say, but I'm going to let you guys say it and break it down schematically. Not good enough, don't care enough. Not good enough, don't care enough. It's just, that's really it. That's the story of the season. Like, that's the headline. Not good enough, don't care enough. And whether or not being good enough led to not caring enough, we can talk about that and about the frustrations of the roster not being good enough and not enough help around Jimmy and Bam, etc., or Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler, however you want to slice it. The reality is it led to a team that just does not fight back. They don't have any resolve. We have not seen that resolve. You look at what happened in that Nets game. That was embarrassing, the way that they played in the second half. They just don't. They don't fight. They don't fight. Okay. The only games that we've seen them fight are the ones that they can somehow get within 5 in the last 5 minutes and have Jimmy save them. And tonight, and sometimes Tyler saved them, but tonight Jimmy just was not engaged at all. Okay. The free throw attempts told you everything. I don't know if the neck injury or anything had something to do with it, but you need to get more from your best player in a circumstance like this. Bam, not good enough again tonight. It's just not enough. I mean, we can talk about the Jimmy Bam build, but sometimes they just need to carry you over the wall, and they did not tonight. And this cannot happen, and I'll go to Greg on this first. It just can't happen when Julius Randle has 3 points and is out after the first half, and RJ Barrett did nothing. They let Quickly completely tear them apart. They let Josh Hart get behind them. There were so many backdoor cuts left open, no resistance in transition. I'm sorry. They gave up. They gave up on this season, I think a long time ago, but it's been in microcosm over the past. Who did they even lose to the other night? I can't remember. They lost to the Nets on Saturday, right? And Toronto on Monday. Yeah. They've not put up any fight since that second half against the Nets. No fight at all, and no fight against Toronto. No fight tonight late. You knew they weren't going to be able to gather themselves. Not good enough. Don't care enough.
There's a couple things too. Jimmy and Bam tonight, particularly because Jimmy sat out. And to me, him coming back and playing tonight meant that he sat out strategically to come back and be aggressive. And it didn't appear as if that's necessarily what ended up transpiring, because he and Bam combined for less field goal attempts than Tyler Hero and Kevin Love combined. And I don't think that that's ever a trend that we want to continue to see. So it was a weird game from both of your superstars, which this late in the season, you're playing a team that you're directly in like this mix with, right? And this has been the story over and over again, that they don't show up. Yo, they got killed on the glass. 47-35 is what the final was. It's just an effort thing. It's a situation where you have a team that looks dejected. They look like they don't want to be around each other. Everybody looks like they just need a break. And this is when people are supposed to be ramping up for playoff runs. This looks like a team that's doing the opposite. And it's just unfortunate because the disposition, usually the one thing you can count on is that the level of like the way that they're going to compete and the intensity that they bring will always be there. It may be ugly as hell. The offense may suck. There may be a bunch of stuff that goes wrong. They may be super unlucky, but they always play hard. And that's not there now. And I think that that's a major red flag that they need, a ton of retooling.
Just no urgency tonight, Brady. No urgency. Like, I mean, even from Spoelstra, like we've talked about the no Bam, no Jimmy minutes, and there we are in a game that they absolutely need. And the fourth quarter is starting with both of them on the bench. And you're literally looking for Victor Oladipo to sort of hijack things so that you can stay in the game. It's just, and then, I mean, Love took 4 threes before anybody else on the team took 2. To me, he's I know I'm going to get some comments here again. I just don't think he's playable right now. I don't think Vic is playable right now, but they sort of have to. Like, they've run out of playable options. Like, I almost just kind of want to watch Haywood Highsmith because I know he's going to play hard. Like, he's going to play hard, right? He's going to throw himself around. Like, that's the bar that we're at right now. You talked all season about things that have kind of fallen apart. We saw the Bam Tyler pick and roll a little bit today, but not a lot of it. Defensively, they weren't aggressive enough. How do you get out rebounded like this by a team that, again, didn't even have Julius Randle? Not that he's an elite rebounder, but I mean, he's a rebounder. Didn't even have Julius Randle for the second half. It was just to me. This is just a garbage performance from them. I'm sorry, like it just was.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same story every game. Like we say and have the same discussion because we're watching the same game over and over. And I always talk about consistency with this team, like in terms of game over game, when it's the fact that they have a big win and then all of a sudden they go to Orlando or they go to Toronto or they just have a follow-up against the Nets. And then there's the in-game consistency where it's like they have a stretch in the first half against the Nets where they look unbeatable offensively and then they go and have 6 points or something in the third quarter. There's also an inconsistency, though, with their energy, which I don't feel like there was a consistency at all with it at any point. But there's like they come out and they have like that. They get punched in the mouth, 8-0. They come back, and I honestly thought they would fold after they were down 8-0. With the way things have been looking as of late, I thought they were going to fold, and I was actually surprised. Where I was like, okay, they just kind of threw a counter punch back. They just came right back, scored another 14 straight. But then like the energy was just never the same. And as much as we talk about role players, it's almost the opposite tonight. Like the role players, to some degree, when you talk about Duncan and Gabe, they showed up, and their main guys didn't. And the role players are not the guys that are going to carry over the energy. They're not the guys that are going to get you prepared in the Garden in a big game where you need to win it. Tie game heading into a fourth quarter where you are literally desperate for wins. Like you put yourselves in a complete hole. You need to take advantage. And their best players did not step up and provide the energy. And that's one of those guys, as much as we talk about Jimmy and the things he's done this season, Jimmy Butler did not step up in that fourth quarter and will the energy. Like I'm not even talking about the schematic X's and O's stuff. I'm talking about going out there and kind of taking a hold of the team, where I just felt like he was out there in the fourth quarter coasting again, which shows the energy in the feel of this team. So the whole dynamic is strange. I just want to add real quick in terms of the shooting stuff, because I feel like it's weird that the blueprint is turned around, that the fact that Alex, we were talking about it, I think it was yesterday even, the fact that they're Spoelstra early in the season last year would say, we need to get to 43s. And you're like, do you? Like, when you look at this team, I don't think you do. Like, that is not the blueprint of this team. They did that tonight. Like, they were like, okay, what did they get up? I think it was close. It was like 39. If you take away Gabe and Duncan, who had big games, I think they shot 18% from three. Like, how do you rely that heavily on three-point shooting when the three-point shooting looks like that? So there's such a reliance on role players, and they did it, and it worked last season because the role players were that good. But I don't feel like they've adjusted away from it. Even the nights where Jimmy or Bam had big nights, they have not adjusted fully away from the fact that there's a heavy reliance on role players. So this is just a same topic over and over, it feels.
Alex, I'm going to give you some numbers here, some shot attempt numbers. You ready? This is in a decisive game. This is in a game that was essentially a playoff game. Okay. All right. Gabe Vincent, who was very good tonight, took 11 shots. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo took 10 apiece. Victor Oladipo took 10 shots. 7 3-point attempts, which is 7 too many, even if he made one. Because the problem is when he makes one, he keeps taking them. Worst thing that can happen is him making a three. Free throw attempts. No one on the team tonight had more than 2 free throw attempts. And I don't want to hear about bias officiating in New York. They didn't deserve free throws tonight. As you mentioned, Brady, it was all from outside. Cody Zeller had 3 offensive rebounds. The rest of the team had 3 combined.
Awful.
And again, free throw attempts. Jimmy Butler had 2. Bam Adebayo had 2. Okay. Vic had 2. Tyler had 2. I mean, Cody Zeller, who missed both, had as many free throw attempts as Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo tonight. And here's the other thing, and I just want you to comment on this as we go. I mean, we talk about, okay, you have the game tied, right? You're in the last quarter of the most important game of the season, and we say, well, Jimmy and Bam didn't step up. They didn't step on the court. They weren't on the court to start the fourth quarter in that pivotal situation. And Bam came in, I guess, 2.5 minutes later. Jimmy came in his usual 5 or 6 minutes later. I don't feel any urgency. Like I don't, and it includes the coach this year. It does, and I don't get it. Like, do they all? I know they don't consciously all want to get to the summer, but it seems like subconsciously they just want to get to the summer.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say otherwise at this point because they're not showing you the consistent, sustained effort. And it's just obvious to anybody watching, like, because, yeah, they've been inconsistent all season, but that's not even where they're at anymore. Like I said, I talked about this on the last show. Like, it feels like they've been 2 different teams pre and post All-Star break. And this, like, post All-Star break identity of theirs where they don't play defense for, like, half the game, it's just awful. Like, it's just a terrible blueprint. I think they're 8-10 now since then. And if you get their record before All-Star break, it was like 4 or 5 games above 500, you know? And then when you look at their offense versus defense stats from then to now, it's really hard not to think of it as a team with 2 identities. And I really cannot stand this identity. Not that I loved the one pre-All-Star break, not that I was going to win a title, but man, like, this team, they just kind of suck now. And I really didn't feel like that before, because now it's just like, I don't even know what they stand on. I don't know what they're about. It's just, it's hard to, you know, it really feels like a sequel to this Raptors game where it's like the offense is a mess. The defense is a mess. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like the 4 combined free throw attempts from Jimmy and Bam, the 20 combined field goal attempts, getting out rebounded by 12. The Knicks got 9 more free throw attempts than you, and you're like supposed to be really, really good at that. And that's one of the things they've been consistent with, other than forcing turnovers. Like, all the indicators are there. Like what you mentioned with Spo, like, you think on a night like tonight, when the trend has been fewer and fewer non-Jimmy and non-Bam minutes, no, we're going right back to that, and we're going to do it when it's, you know, in perhaps the most important game of the season, like you said. So, yeah, the sense of urgency is not there. I don't see it at all. It doesn't seem like they care too much about being a playing team. They seem like, you know, just whoever they play against, whoever they have to play against. The sense of urgency is not there. It's just another regular season game, you know, more minutes management, and definitely no real sense of urgency.
Greg, we'll get to some more specifics on players after the break and where you go from here and what we're looking at in the play-in situation, because I have a hard time seeing them dig out of a play-in situation at this point. I can't count on them to win a game. But I guess when we look at this season, okay, you've called it, and we'll get into this in more detail over the next couple of days, but you've called it among the most disappointing seasons in Heat history. For me, the reason it's disappointing is that certain players on this team built a reputation for effort, for caring, that
Yes.
for the culture thing. It's one thing for a team that wins a championship, right? The 05-06 team, which was a fluky title that Dwayne led them to because he was, as people are going to be reminded when he goes into the Hall of Fame in a few months, he was the best player in the world for a 2-month period and carried their asses to the finish line. But those were old crotchety guys, okay, who just were mercenaries looking for that one ring. And once they got it, they were done. But they'd accomplished it, right? Like Gary Payton, I always tell this story. Like Mike Wallace and George Sedano and I were in Chicago. And the next year after they win the title, GP's coming through the tunnel. And there was some kind of issue. It wasn't the thing with him and Wade during the championship run. It was the year after. And he's just saying, I got my rings. He's like, I don't give a bleep. I got my rings. That team was entitled to act like that. We expected them to act like that. Like once they won a title, Peyton, Antoine Walker, James Posey. This team, like these are Jimmy Butler is a self-made player. Bam Adebayo is a self-made player. Tyler Hero has exceeded all expectations. The guys that they have for undrafted free agents have exceeded every expectation that's ever been set for them. And you would have just thought that they would come back from, and I think the organization thought this wrongly, and this is something that when Riley finally speaks, I hope he addresses this.
Yeah.
The organization came back thinking they would come back hungrier. They came back full.
And to that point, I keep saying, like, they came back and they looked around and they said, whoa, we didn't add anybody. And so I think that like the precedent was set, the tone was set from jump when they came back as a team that's that close, that's that good, that's that connected, all those things firing on all cylinders, a locker room glue guys out the door. And so I'm cycling back all the way to the offseason because I think ultimately that set the tone for this entire season to be stale, stagnant, and now has turned to just basically be like, get it over with. That's the vibe that you see, that it feels like from everyone. And it's just for me, it's because of the fact that they were that close. And to me, that's the moment that you go all in, that it makes it that disappointing. There's been a lot of disappointing moments in Heat history, but rarely do you have a team that was as good as they were last year come back and that disposition, that edge be gone. I can deal with a lot of stuff being gone, but when that part goes away, the heart and soul part, it's rough.
It's rough because it's so counterintuitive to what we expect from players in this organization. And it makes you rethink the whole thing. And it makes you rethink kind of, okay, if they can't maximize their players, then they're going to have to spend. Because part of the reasons that they've gotten away with the not spending is because, well, we can make something out of nothing with a lot of these guys and hold their rights for 2-3 years until we got to make a decision on them. But if you're not maximizing, and they are not maximizing this year, like it's just crazy. And I want to get to the sponsors here, and we'll get to some more specifics. Again, they're going to have 3 guys finish with 20 points or more on average this season, and they're going to be the worst offensive team in the league. I mean, they have been so much less than the sum of their parts the entire year, and we are now with 5 games left. And as Alex said, and I think he hit this right, they're just bad right now. Like this isn't like, okay, they can tweak this and they can make this rotation change and everything. They're not a good basketball team. Like once you get 77 games into the season and your net rating is almost -2 at this stage, and it's like 24th in the league,
they went the opposite direction.
Right. You're just not good. And we can't sunshine pump that anymore. And it can't be, again, wait for this thing to happen. Okay, wait for the trade deadline. Wait for the buyout market. The buyout market made them worse. Kevin Love has not helped. And I'm sorry, anybody can write a screed here on YouTube. I never want to do another buyout stream again, okay? Because I had Mike Bibby PTSD, and the Kevin Love experience has brought all of it back, okay? When guys are done particularly an organization that they've been with for 8 or 9 years that finally gets good and decides we don't want this guy here anymore. Okay, or at least we're not going to give him playing time. It's just we're not going to give him playing time, so he's going to ask to leave. And then the Heat, again, whether they made a promise or they didn't, you plug him back into the starting line. You plug him in the starting lineup, and you're just getting nothing out of that, okay, at all, except missed threes. And, you have to change your defense. It's just not good. All right, I do want to mention a couple sponsors here. We thank our producer, Maddie Chang, as always. I want to mention Lynette. She was with us on the stream tonight. She's a trooper. She puts in the work on your life insurance, your car insurance, all other kinds of insurance that she does here following the Heat. Trust me, 954-581-8800. She's one of you, okay? Aggressive Insurance Agency. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. And there's the phone number, 954-581-8800. If you have a bad driving record, she will certainly help you. The Heat have a bad driving record this season. They can't finish at the rim. ODM Performance Solutions. We mention this one all the time. You can find them at odmpsi.com, odmpsi.com. If you run a business and you're looking for high-level employees, they can connect you with them, but also it works the other way. We've been telling you about that lately. You want to get hired as an executive. They have connections with banks all over the country, supermarkets all over the country, but of course based here in South Florida in Pembroke Pines. So they'll work with you whether you're in Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. odmpsi.com. That's ODM Performance Solutions. Just go to that website I mention all the time and just fill it out, and they will get back to you. George, Josh, and their entire crew there, and they'll be with us at our watch party. God, if the Heat lose that one, April 4th at Tropical Distillers in Miami, will be there for Heat and Pistons. All right, a couple specifics I want to get to here. Let's do these quick. Victor Oladipo, Brady.
Just Victor Oladipo, that's it? You're just throwing him out there into the wind?
Just open-ended question. Victor Oladipo, there was a 3-play sequence where he was kind of like keeping them in the game. But it's like candy. It's eventually going to rot your teeth. That's kind of how it felt tonight.
I mean, you mentioned it before. You're like, it's scary to watch him knock down 1-3 because more are coming. But the issue is, I don't even think he needs to make one. Like, he has a mindset to come out there. Even he was 0 of 4, and he just still is taking them. And I know this motto I bring up. I always say, like, you're open for a reason. Like, that is the complete thing here. Like, you are open for a reason, and it just continually. I said it on Twitter earlier. I was like, it's deflating. Like, it is deflating that possession after possession, your one open look is the look that the defense wants you to take. And you are not even almost trying to like make a play out of it. You were just giving them what they want. Like if there's that
sound like it's Russ Westbrook,
I mean, normally taking the shot that the defense gives you is a good thing, but Victor Oladipo.
But it's funny. It's also funny because the Knicks, the way they defend like schematically is they like send extra help to the strong side action. So like you have to like hit weak side shots. You have to hit your skip passes and hit open shots. This team can't do that. Like schematically, like the Knicks are winning defensively with the way they play defense, with the way Miami does things. They're leaving Victor Oladipo open, and it's like if you're that open, you have space to attack. So like the one thing you can provide is rim pressure, paint touches, something to that extent. And it was like that stretch that you mentioned, Ethan. He was doing that a little bit. Like he had some wild three that went in that we shouldn't even acknowledge. But the fact that he was getting to the rim a little bit and just kind of doing that is what's needed. And I thought the moments where he was like I thought he did a good job of looking for Duncan. That was one of the few things that Victor Oladipo I thought did well tonight was look for Duncan. He was kind of making the extra swing. He was finding him, and he was kind of getting him open looks. Other than that, there is a worry on a possession-to-possession basis where you don't know what you're going to get from him. You don't know what shot he's going to take. You don't know who he's going to pass to and turn it over, and it's going to go in the other direction. Like there is just such a wide scale when he's on the floor, and I think that's why it's gotten to the point where when you have a healthy roster, he's not in the rotation because it's just you cannot rely on that offensively and have like that wide of a scale. And the question becomes, and I know that's the next guy you're going to go to, but I think that's the decision that's already been made for Victor Oladipo, and I think there's a decision on another guy, Ethan, that you have mentioned a lot that needs to be made now. Like this isn't something I know we could talk about the season's over and this and the play heading into a play-in, but if they care at all, they need to make these decisions now. I think they need to change the starting lineup. I don't see a reason why you keep going to it and keep. It doesn't make sense to me. You don't kind of change your entire defense for somebody that is not giving you the one thing that you wanted them to provide, which is shooting. So this is all pointless. And it's not like you gave up a bunch of assets to get this guy. So you're like, we're going to ride this out. You gave up nothing. We only thing we gave up was a bunch of time doing podcast for a week on Kevin Love. That's the only thing we gave up.
We got our best numbers of the year though, Brady. So I'll take it.
And the last thing I'll say is Ethan, Ethan just completely lied because I guarantee you we're doing multiple buyout streams next year. So that was the only thing.
I'll put it this way. If we're doing multiple buyout streams, we're probably folding because that means they didn't do anything again in the offseason or the trade deadline. And I'm sorry, I'm not sitting through this again. We'll go cover the Magic. I'm not going to cover a team that brings this all back. It does nothing. But Alex, I'll give you another name. And first thing, I'm with you. Change the starting lineup. I don't care if it's Lowry or Gabe at this point, but Love needs to be out. And I would take him out of the rotation entirely. I'd put Caleb in as a starter. I know some would disagree with me. I'd rather play Zeller than Love. You know what you're getting. He's not going to shoot you out of things. You don't have to change your entire defense for him. That's what I would do. Okay, I know some would say I just play Zeller. You just know where he's going to be. He's fine. Like he's fine. He plugs a hole for you. Love's not giving you anything. I'm going to give you two names tonight, Alex. You give him the story because, we can't let Tyler. Tyler had 33 in the last game. And tonight he was 6 of 16. He had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. He didn't even have a turnover. The ball didn't seem to even be in his hands enough. 1 foul. He was a +6, actually, which was the best on the team.
The 2 of 10 from 3 is the thing that stands out.
Yeah, the 2 of 10 from 3, but then also 4 of 6 from inside. You get, I don't know. He just wasn't. I really wanted him to build on the last game. Right? I really did because I thought that he had gotten to some things in the last game, and you're like, can he do it again in a game that's meaningful? And here we are again saying no. Right? Yeah. Like I'm not putting it all on him, but it's just that you see the flashes, and it's like, okay, Bam and Jimmy are struggling. Can Tyler pick them up in this game? He did not. The other name I did want to give you, because the one guy who did pick him up was freaking Duncan Robinson. Made 4 of 6 threes. Of course, they called 3 fouls on him real quick, but they also called Strus, 3 fouls on Strus. Yeah, which is the reason that Duncan played so much. 3 fouls on Strus in 3 minutes, and it seemed like Spo had enough. Give me your assessments of Hero, Robinson, and then Robinson, Strus.
So, the Tyler thing, I think it really was kind of symptomatic of just a general lack of energy, lack of good vibes, whatever you want to call it. I think in general, Tyler was just kind of following along with that pattern. I think everything fell off tonight. Tyler wasn't awful, wasn't that good though. At least he tried. At least he tried to get some of those shots up.
Here's where we are.
It's just that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like
at least he tried.
He tried to get some shots up. He wasn't. Look, man, it's weird because like all season for the most part, Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler have been the ones kind of hitting their marks, doing their jobs. Other guys are the ones not hitting enough shots, and it ends up being on the their big three for not doing even more. And tonight that was definitely not the case. Like none of their 3 had a good game for their standards. Like that is a big problem, especially in a game where the Knicks lose their second best player early on. It's a game that just matters so much for the standings. But again, they seem to not care that much. It's like, whatever. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. That's just kind of, that's where I'm at with this whole team, And as far as Duncan, it was good to see him doing that. We know that doesn't mean he's going to be a part of the rotation now. You probably don't see him for like another month or something. But
you're not going to see us in another month. I don't know. I don't know about Duncan.
Yeah, you're gonna see us. We're just not going to be talking about current Heat basketball games.
No, we're not.
You're still going to see us. That's for sure. Yeah. But as far as Duncan, good to see him making some shots out there. Like I think might as well. I don't think they should be above playing Duncan Robinson. Like if somebody comes out and says, Duncan should be in the rotation over Love, I can't even say that's crazy. Like I can't.
It's not crazy.
Try everything. Yeah.
Just try things now. And I'm usually not one of this type of mind. Like, oh yeah, play Omer, play Duncan, play Depot, all the guys who aren't currently in the rotation. That'll fix everything. But no, like the team needs shooting badly, and they get no movement. Like they can't shift the defense, especially when Jimmy's not trying. Like at least try something out there with Duncan running dribble handoffs. Like
didn't there used to be a motion offense, Alex?
I know.
Oh my god!
Like this is going into the offseason. I don't even care if they like bring back a team that's a championship contender. Bring back a team with a Miami Heat identity. That's all I want next season.
So, all right, so let's close this. What should be the title of this episode? We thanks everybody for joining us. Sorry we didn't get the comments up. We will in future eps, but we do want to thank Manny for producing tonight. What should the title be? Should it be Not Good Enough, Don't Care Enough? Should it be At Least He Tried? I feel like that's a good title. Miami Heat, At Least Tyler Tried. Should that be
I like yours better.
No, the other one is better.
Yeah.
Not Good Enough, Don't Care Enough. When do they play again? Do we have to watch this again? Oh, it's Saturday.
Oh, we got to watch it in person. We got to watch Luka and Kyrie figure it out.
Schedule too, so you'll see plenty of us.
Luka and Kyrie are going to figure it out versus the Heat.
They will, actually, right after Miami and FAU advance to the Final Four, out of the Final Four. I'll tell you, you watch those two teams play, and I give the Heat some credit for some of this because I do think they changed this into a basketball town in some ways and have inspired better basketball programs, especially in our part of the state. But I watch FAU and Miami play, the Canes play, and I watch the kind of energy they play with and the kind of passion they play with. This Heat team is a dog team right now. They just are, and not in the right way. Not the way they talked about it last year. No. They just want to take their tails and go home at this point. Like, that's basically where they're at. And I haven't gotten totally to that point. I think you guys can tell I've been trending that way. But it has been a weird vibe since the start of the season, since training camp. Guys came in with different ambitions, and they were all pulling different directions. And it's something that Gabe Vincent said to me. I keep repeating this line, but I just think Gabe spoke it. And he was the best player on the floor for the Heat tonight, okay? He had 21. He was good defensively. He said it. He said, it feels like we've all been living in last year. He said the players, the media, the fans, we've all been living in last year. And he said, we all came back and we expected things to be the same or better. And everybody else got better. He actually said that. He said everybody else got better. He verbalized all the things we've talked about. I don't want to live in last year anymore, but I don't want to live in this year either. So they can do whatever they want over the next 5 games. But, let's get to the summer and start talking about what they're going to do next. That's where I'm at. Manny, throw that one up. We'll close one more time with this comment. This comes in from Jason. Happy this is happening so we don't have to hear we love this team. We love our team this summer. Well, you may not hear that, but you may hear, well, we didn't have a lot of flexibility. So we ended up bringing back most of the same team again. This one comes in from I can't read it right now because Big Rat was Big Rat 310. All right, they also have had that good help for their big three. All three are projected to play 65 games plus this year. That likely will never happen again. It may not.
Something to consider.
It may not. And to have those 3 guys all average 20 and to still be a bottom-feeding offense that can't eke out 100 points in a game that you absolutely needed, pace or no pace adjusted.
Unbelievable.
Not good enough, don't care enough. At least he tried. Have a good night, everybody.